Hey, we're Super Whatever, and we're with Rob on Front Row Live.
You guys have been on tour basically the entire year.
Yep.
How has each tour kind of changed, and what made this tour so different?
I think this one was smaller. We got to hang out with people that we knew in the past or had run into or listened to or were fans of.
Mm-hmm.
It was more, I guess, familiar. It was shorter. It was just good to be on the road this time around.
Yeah. Now this time you guys are promoting your debut album, which was on Hopeless, Never Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the production process of this record. Who did you guys go into the studio to record this record with?
I recorded it with Seiji Inoue. He's out in Tennessee. Just did it in his 2-story little apartment. Recorded most of it in the basement. So, yeah, it was pretty dry bones, just miking things up.
How did you get connected with this producer? What is it about this producer that you wanted to work with him?
He actually taught me how to play music. Like, he taught me bass guitar at church when I was little, and then he started working with some bigger acts, and so I could present that to the label and be like, look, he's awesome. And so they were all about it, and yeah, it was just kind of to pay homage. Is that how you say it? Pay homage to him and everything he's done for me. So yeah.
Now, as you guys all went into the studio to record, like, what was the experience like recording the instrumentation for the album?
It was actually just me. These guys
Oh,
were
really?
all new homies, new blood.
Yeah, there was the old band, so we're like new people. Yeah. So they all went in, so they're not here to answer that question. He'd be the only guy here.
It was really fun. Only 3 of us went, so we shared lead guitar, shared a lot about, like, we took turns on bass, took turns on all the instrumentation. So yeah, it was really fun, really organic.
So one of the things that, kind of got you started writing music was because you were doing poems. So how different or difficult was it translating a poem into a song?
Really hard, actually. I started writing when I was like 19, 20, specifically Super Whatever stuff, and it was really difficult for me. I actually had a couple friends help me with the progressions back in the day and, like, kind of start that process and teach me how to write a song. And then once I was able to do that and figure out a format, started making a bunch.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how did you guys all get connected with him and join the band?
He was actually a barista at one of our favorite coffee spots.
Nice.
So he had a pin on that was like a Clarence pin from Cartoon Network. And it was like, oh, I watched Clarence too. It's like a kid's show. It's super random. And so he met me and my other friends, and then over the course of time, he got a tattoo from this guy who kills it at tattoos. And yeah.
Hey. What's up? How's it going, man? I'm here.
And then how did you get in the picture?
Skylar and I met through music, actually, like 2 years ago. We played a show together, and I just really liked Super Whatever. I remember going up to him after the show, and I was just like, dude, I like how raw your music is and just how honest it is.
Right.
And we kept in touch a couple of times. Just like, dude, can you come play for me? And I was busy with other things. I couldn't. But this last time, it was just like, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's run it. It's been like we've been friends for about 2 years, and we're finally playing music together. So.
Yeah.
So this new formation, like, how long have you guys all been together then?
Since January, about, yeah.
Me since June.
Yep.
May, June
Of this year?
of this year, yeah.
Okay.
Just a good time.
So, what's the chemistry been like with you guys? Like, especially because you guys have been on tour the entire year. So
We're
What was
idiots,
the question?
man.
What was the what?
just the chemistry between you guys.
It goes from like 0 and totally like, oh, I know what they're saying, to if anybody like entered the conversation, it's a different world.
Yeah.
It just degradates very quickly into
nice
oblivion.
Doing it with friends.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it so much easier to, like the jokes are honest and genuine because we all actually like each other.
Right.
It's great.
Now, it's kind of cool that you guys just recently met, but you guys are seem like you guys are just close, as if you guys have been together for a while.
Me and this guy, actually, we left our jobs that we both worked at to join this band. And so we've been friends for however long. We hated each other for like 2 years, but then we became best friends. But so we've known each other for like 6, 8 years, something like that.
Almost a decade now. Yeah, almost a decade, yeah.
We're grown old together.
Right. So as you guys got to tour together, like have you guys been able to write on the road together? Is that something that you guys have been testing the waters with?
Nope.
Recently.
I think ideas we bring our stoves with us on tour. No, ideas have been bounced around, but it's nothing that we've actually sat down and touched. So yeah, I think that answers that.
It's like only during sound checks. We'll be like, here's the idea. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Okay, that's fun. And then we let it go.
Sound checks are like when we're home, we do that stuff. I feel like in the van, we're just surviving. It's very low productivity time. Mario Kart only.
Nice. Now, when you guys are performing songs from the record, like, do you guys each have a particular song that kind of challenged you to perform live?
I guess this would sound really arrogant if I answered this.
None of them. They were all easy.
I'm trying to think of one that was really hard.
Say it.
There's a little tapping part in Someone Somewhere that took me like 30 seconds. That's a lot. I'm kidding.
I'm just
kidding.
Just great all
So
around.
bad.
I'm a great guitar player,
Tapping is not something that I do, so it took me a minute to figure that out. But
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, when Skylar asked me to be a part of this band, it was a style that I had not played since I was like 16. So a lot of the songs.
So you call it immature?
It was a lot of them. I picked them up, but definitely there's 3 that gave me the hardest of times. It was Misquote, Catherine with a K, and what's the other one? For You. Those 3 for sure gave me a run for my money.
Was it mainly because you hadn't played them in so long, or?
Well, I haven't played that song in so long, and honestly, the last drummer, he was really talented. He knew what he was doing, and I just had to pick up on a style I haven't been used to playing.
Right.
Like I said, 16. That was what, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna skip you for now.
No, the song for me that was like the hardest one for the first 2 weeks was Bloomfield, and then once I learned it, now it's like my favorite one. Something falling off. But yeah, I actually played guitar before this, so I learned bass while I was learning the songs, which seems like not that big of a deal, but the style and
like transition.
yeah, I never really knew much about bass, and the focus is completely different, and so it's kind of like learning the songs, but also learning like what your priorities are. Like you're more focused on the kick and the snare, and you're less focused on just your part, but it's more of like a cohesive thing.
Right.
And so Bloomfield was definitely wild. They're all interesting because of like the structure of them. It's like memorization, like challenges every time.
Yeah.
So, but Bloomfield is the one for sure.
And did you like start out playing bass?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys both kind of had that same kind of transition, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Mine was learning how to play guitar. I still am learning how to play guitar.
Yeah.
All the songs are in open tuning because I don't know what I'm doing. So maybe the second record will sound a little different.
Yeah.
So for you, when you went in to record these songs, like because they're so personal and some of them are vulnerable, which ones do you feel like were more challenging for you to create?
These are great questions. You're really good at this.
I try.
8:51 a.m. That like song was about my brother, and that was really hard to write because I don't like. It's easy to be really personal and vulnerable about stuff about like with people that aren't gonna hear it,
Right.
but people that like actively listen to the music. I'm like, oh, I'm writing a song, and you're gonna definitely know this is about you. So that was really difficult. Writing certain songs about like my mom and my parents like was really hard, but now it's easy because there's like a certain amount of detachment that happens after you finish writing, not on purpose, just because that's kind of how it goes.
Right.
And so it's easy now, but during the writing process, it was really difficult. I was going through some crap.
Now,
Yeah.
with the detachment, like, do you feel like now when you perform them live, they don't kind of impact you as hard as they did when you first wrote them?
I mean, yeah, since we're playing them every single night, there'll be some nights where I'm like, whoa, this means something. This is really important. I'm really glad I can like share this with people, and like this actually is impactful, and I'll like cry a little. But most of the time, like we're just doing the same set so often that I try to make it as honest and as in the moment as possible. But with how many shows we play, it's difficult to let myself be that vulnerable and not do damage to my mental state. So yeah, it's a balance.
Now, you kind of mentioned on my next question, which is like, because you guys have been playing so many shows, like how has that impacted the way that you guys are thinking about new music? Not necessarily already starting to work on new music, but like maybe a different way of writing music because you guys have been playing shows like Sum 41, for example. That was a bigger show than you guys are probably used to.
We became best friends with Derek. It was great.
It's so crazy when it's like your idols and then you're just
Now
friends
we,
now.
Literally like play chess. And hang out. It's so rad.
I love you.
Martinis on Tuesdays. Yeah, it's great. Love you guys.
Hang out. We're supposed to have a spa day next week.
It's a nude spa.
So how did shows like that kind of impact the way that you think about the way like the writing process or playing music or even like touring?
I think we're all just ready. Sky was the only one on Never Nothing, and us, we're just ready to get in, and we love playing the songs, don't get me wrong, but we're ready to like get in and create and do new stuff for sure.
I just think, go, please.
No, touring on that level, like the other part of your question is like, how does that impact? Like, touring on a level where the dudes have been doing it for so long and being able to be exposed to like such like professional like environment, like it really made us want to work on like transitions and sort of entertainment in the show rather than just like playing a song and then not knowing what to do and relying on our quirkiness, but then like, you know, like putting on like a nice entertaining show. So that was cool. That was a good takeaway.
Is that something that you guys rehearse like within each show that you guys were doing, or is that something you guys were trying to figure out on your off time?
I think it's something that we observed when we were there, and we're like, wow, we could do a better job like making it cohesive. You know what I mean? Because I mean, they have like things that are exploding and blow up dolls, like not like that, like really cool, like big ones.
You never know. It's Sum 41.
But it's something that we talk about. We have so much time in the van that we'll talk about it. Like yo, in between the song, I'll swell in and we can do this, and then you can kind of practice what you say instead of like digging around for it for a minute, and then everyone's kind of like waiting and it's awkward. So that was just cool. It's just a cool threshold to see, like, and be like firsthand, like, wow, these guys are pros.
How to rile up a crowd was like a big thing that I didn't know how to do. Like, I never wanted to be like, how are we doing? Whoa, middle fingers up. Like, I think that's like, it's just not, that's not how I like to hold myself.
Right.
I don't know. I want the songs to speak for themselves, but it's really nice to know, to have that like in like my performing utility belt of like how to get people interested and involved and like to move around. Cause a lot of the times like we're new, people just show up and be like, impress me. Right. And so it's nice to watch a bigger band like that know how to like get people really energized. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me it's honestly a lot of stage presence was what I learned, because me and this guy have been playing like live music. That was our job before that, for however many, like 5 to 6 years, and so, but it didn't require a lot of movement. And at these shows, it's like the music they were playing is like, oh, like, not, I want to dance to it, but also like I'm like focusing on what parts I'm playing and more like almost like studio type attitude towards it. And so being like, I need to play these parts and do something weird with my legs that like looks entertaining, that's been a huge like kind of progression for me personally, learning how to do that stuff. So
does that kind of affect you during the live show because you're thinking about like, I should be doing this, or I'm just like standing still too much?
Oh yeah, it used to a lot. It's getting a little bit better now, but I remember in the beginning it was like a meter of like, do I want to play the parts right or do I want to dance? And it was like mutually exclusive, so it was a little weird in the beginning, but it got better.
Now, you guys are about to end this tour and then have a little bit of a break and then go back on the road. What else can fans expect on this upcoming tour?
Us to be in their towns. Us in proximity. Yeah. And probably elevated on a stage and maybe loud because of the projection of sound.
If you have a Nintendo Switch and you bring extra controllers, we can run it on Mario Kart. You can expect that.
Yeah, we just made a lot of friends. Like when we went out with like movements and some, you go into cities and then you go back to the city again. You're like, oh, I'm here again. And so you kind of just make friends. So you just get to see the friends that you've been DMing the whole time anyways. Yeah.
Tours, it feels kind of like reunions now. Like I was just here last month and I get to see this dude that I would never see otherwise. Right. So there's an element of like, it feels family, especially on these smaller tours where you just show up and you play the show, but it's more like, oh, I remember you, or like, oh, we're staying at this dude's house. And it just kind of becomes this like enjoyable like working vacation thing. It's tight.
One thing that's new that, I'm sorry to interrupt. One thing's new, we are playing like a full set. So we get to play songs on the East Coast that we've never played. Nice, and we get to do most of the EP and most of the record. So that's really cool.
We played a full set last week. And we all got done. We were like, damn, we don't know how Sum 41 does it. I was so tired. I got home And I still had so much adrenaline that I was tired. I was beat. I wanted to go to sleep, but I was just staring at the ceiling like, oh my God, I can't sleep. But yeah, no, we play a full set, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of songs. It's a lot of energy, and we definitely leave it all on stage. Yeah.
And you were saying something?
I was just saying I like look forward to my friends moving away now, because then not only do I have a place to stay, I get to see them more often because I'm in their town, so it's like an event. Like I get to be with them in this moment rather than be like, oh, I'll see you every day this week because you live up the street. It's like, oh my God, I'm like in whatever town you move to, like New York or Chicago, wherever my friends move, and I get to like spend time with them. Like my friend I haven't seen in like probably 3.5 years, I saw this morning in San Francisco. That's crazy. It's like, it's so cool.
That's pretty
so
crazy.
Yeah.
Now to close this off, like for those that are not familiar with Super Whatevr, what is the whole reason behind this band? Why did you create this band?
Mental health, suicide awareness, and just helping people through their crap. It's really important to me because I've dealt with a lot of stuff and worked on my own mental health, and so it's something that I feel is not only like not being spoken about, it just feels like since I've grown from that, it feels necessary to be able to share that with people and hopefully help someone through the process. So that's, yeah.